Hello. Two more stories. One involves a woman who is pregnant, but who the father is makes for quite a surprise. The second is about how a woman decides to say goodbye to her old life and start a new. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This story is titled, My 29 female ex-husbands, 32 male affair partner, 31 female is accusing me of being a homewrecker. Hi guys, I've been reading this sub for a few weeks now and I really wish I had found it before D-Day. Sorry if this is long, but I wanted to get this out. D-Day was about 1.5 years ago. I found out my now ex-husband was having an affair because he got his affair partner pregnant and he was leaving me to be with her and his baby. Her being pregnant was especially painful because we had been trying to get pregnant for a whole year without any success. I made every mistake you could possibly make when finding out about an affair. I did the pick-me dance but in overdrive. My ex left for 2 weeks before coming back to try and make things work. The trickle truth started then. He claimed she had lied about the baby and he was no longer speaking to her. He also claimed that they hadn't had an affair. He called it that when he first confessed, but it had been a drunk one-night stand. He claimed he never wanted to leave but felt like he had to be with her for his child and that he never wanted her and would never have touched her had he been sober. I didn't question him much because I was just so relieved he was back. I didn't know who the affair partner was at this point, and whenever I asked him who it was, he kept insisting it didn't matter. D-Day 2 was 2 months later. My ex treated me like crap during reconciliation. He was acting like I did something wrong by not being able to get pregnant and that his cheating never happened. Before D-Day 1, I never had any inclination that my ex was cheating on me. However, during our false reconciliation, there were more typical cheater signs. So, I ended up snooping through his phone whilst he was sleeping, and it was devastating. I found out that they had never stopped seeing each other, that he only came back because she had gotten an abortion, at my ex's insistence because her husband would have found out she was having an affair. He was abroad during the time of conception, and that my ex convinced the affair partner to wait to leave her husband until he could get her the house she deserved. I found out that their affair had been going on for at least 8 months, and that he had been buying her designer bags and other expensive gifts whilst we could barely afford the rent. I was paying almost all of the bills at this point because he told me he was paying for his mom's medical bills. I'd like to think I reacted better after D-Day 2. I didn't confront my ex. Instead, I borrowed some money from my sister so I could hire a lawyer and serve him divorce papers. I did get screenshots of the messages and I started trying to find the affair partner's husband so I could give him a heads up. I ended up finding her on Facebook and honestly, I don't know why she would throw her life away for someone like my ex. I had to actually double check to make sure it was her because I just couldn't understand why someone would risk such a comfortable life to live with someone who barely scrapes by. Maybe that's shallow, but as someone who has had to struggle because of how terrible my ex's spending habits are, I just couldn't comprehend it. I still hadn't found a way to contact the affair partner's husband when I finally served my ex with the papers and moved in with my sister. Thankfully, my name was not on the lease. So I wasn't stuck living with him. At first, he begged for a second chance and refused to sign them. In the end, I made it clear I knew who his affair partner was and that I was going to tell her husband about their affair if he didn't sign the papers. He ended up signing them if I promised to not tell his affair partner's husband because he didn't want me to hurt him, other betrayed spouse. I couldn't contact the affair partner's husband even if I wanted to, so I agreed. My divorce was finalized quickly because we didn't have much to split. My ex continued to see his affair partner and I even met her once when I went to pick up the last of my stuff. That really pissed me off because I felt like she was getting her happily ever after with both guys whilst my life had just been shattered and I was forced to live in my sister's spare bedroom. My sister ended up finding her husband through LinkedIn of all places. I messaged him my number and asked him to call me because I had something to tell him about his wife. After 2 weeks, he finally called me. At first, he didn't believe me, but I emailed him the evidence I had. We stayed in contact whilst he tried to find his own evidence and hired a PI to confirm the affair was still ongoing. The affair partner and her husband separated, and he moved out. He ended up finding some more information out and he invited me over so he could show it to me and thank me in person. Most of it is irrelevant to this post, but I finally found out why my ex wanted his affair partner to get an abortion after so valiantly leaving me for her. They wanted to trap her husband into paying child support for their kid. Anyway, we got drunk and were talking about how screwed up the affair partner and my ex are, and one thing led to another. We didn't keep in touch after that, but I know from my ex, who sent me a bunch of abusive texts, that the affair partner and her husband got back together, and she dumped him. 2 months ago, I found out I was pregnant. The only person I've slept with is the other betrayed spouse. It took me a long time to decide what I was going to do about it, but 3 weeks ago, I sent him a text asking if we could meet up because I had something to tell him. The affair partner ended up calling me to scream at me and tell me to leave her husband alone and not to contact him again. I ended up calling him to tell him about the pregnancy and my plans to keep the baby. He was surprised about the baby but said he wanted to be involved. I'm assuming he told his ex-wife because she's been pestering me since to get an abortion. She even offered to pay for it. She's called me a few nasty names, including a homewrecker, and said her husband was leaving her because of me. She even got back in contact with my ex and he keeps sending me messages about how he's so hurt I would have another man's baby when I refused to have his and that this is why our marriage ended. The affair partner has even sent me a few of her and my ex's sex tapes, which is gross. This situation is incredibly messy, but I just found it ironic that I'm now the homewrecker according to the affair partner. Comment 1. This is something out of a freaking Hollywood movie. Cheating, pregnancies, divorces, psychotic affair partners. You guys should have just wife swapped, it would have been cheaper. But on the bright side, I guess, you get to have a baby, albeit with the affair partner's husband. I wish you and your child the very best. Homewrecker. Now that's ironic. You have to admire cheaters, the self-entitled arrogance of them. Just makes you laugh. Comment 2. I think it's time to block and delete both ex and ex's affair partner. Congratulations on the baby, and I'm glad the dad wants to be involved. Now that you will have a little one to take care of and protect, remove the toxicity from your life. Good luck. Comment 3. Sister, I'm sorry for the pain that led you here, but damn, this may be one of the happiest endings I've read on here. I'm cackling. You get the baby you always wanted, check, with a man who isn't a lying McLear face, check, who wants to be involved with the child, check, and you get the ultimate revenge on affair partner and your ex. Like damn, not so bad. Good luck. I wish you nothing but the best, you beautiful soul. Comment 4. This will probably be an ongoing situation. I am fairly certain the affair partner will leave her husband. The selfishness she has combined with being involved in a co-parenting situation with you will eventually cause her to jump ship. I predict she will make an attempt to slime back into something with your ex. Just given how immature she has been. None of that, her your ex should be given any more of your concern. You and your child come before any of them. Good luck and thank you for sharing. Comment 5. That's so messed up, but stick with affair partner ex-husband because this could be something out of a rom-com or novel. Cut off your ex and affair partner, they should get back together, they really deserve each other. This was so wild though. This story is titled, I said goodbye to my former home today and made closure for myself. I have had a really hard time feeling any sort of mental peace or closure, despite knowing with certainty that leaving my wayward husband was what I needed to do. Today I took a road trip to our old house, packed up all my remaining things, and drove home. While I was there, I said goodbye to the house and it was very healing. In the style of Marie Kondo, I went through each room one by one and thanked it for how it protected me from the elements, provided help or comfort for me. And for being a place where I was happy at the time. I thanked it for the memories, and expressed that I couldn't stay there anymore because it would bring me pain now, not joy. I cried a lot, but it was a liberating pain, not a caging one. My husband's things were there too. I touched his shirts hanging in the closet, remembering the comfort his touch used to bring me, and cried for the fact that he lied to me and wasn't who he said he was. Then I hit them some, saying, how could you do this and convince yourself it was fine? That felt good too. Then I said goodbye to him too, metaphorically. He wasn't there. I said he brought me joy and happiness before, but staying with him now would hurt me, and I had to go and he had to let me go. I turned and thanked the bedroom for being a place of sexual joy and physical comfort and warmth. I thanked it for that time, and told it that time was over. I went to the kitchen, where a whiteboard hung on the wall. I wrote on the whiteboard, goodbye. Then I stepped out the front door, locking it behind me, and shut it for the last time. This process was incredibly healing for me. My husband does not want to let me go, and it has made getting any sort of closure on his infidelity and crimes very difficult. But today I claimed closure for myself. And it felt really good. Comment 1. This made me feel good just reading it. Too often closure is just an illusion, but in this case, I really felt something there. Good for you, you deserve it. Comment 2. Thank you for sharing this. I hope you find what you want out in the world. Comment 3. We have rituals for big moments of transition, graduation, wedding, funeral. The ending of a marriage deserves one too. Thank you so very much for listening. Please check out my other videos and like and subscribe.